Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to show you guys how to do a compression test on your Miata. This pretty much applies for any gasoline car with a spark plug, but this specifically is a 2001 Mazda Miata. What you're going to want to do next is, depending on what year Miata you have, this is a 2001. Or 2001 to 2005 Miatas will all have this strut brace, and so we're gonna go ahead and zap that off so we can get some better access to the coil plugs here. And we're gonna do that with getting a 12mm and just zapping these guys off. The next step you're gonna want to do is get a 10mm. We're gonna take the two 10mm coil pack bolts off on both sides, so there's a total of 4, and the boot off on the cylinder 1 and cylinder 3. So we're going to go ahead and grab the 10mm and get those off. Once you get the 10mm bolts off, you can go ahead and take the coil packs off. They just pull right off, and I just throw them off to the side. Just to get them out of the way here. And then you're going to be left with something that looks like that on the top of your engine. Before you get your compression tester, we're going to have to take the spark plugs off. And we're going to go ahead and grab your spark plug socket. It's a 5/8 socket that fits these spark plugs on a Miata. And this is what I'm using right now. There are specific spark plug sockets. They have rubber inside of them so the spark plug doesn't keep falling. And I like to use a extension that has a locking head on it so it doesn't come off. We're going to go ahead and drop that in there. And you want to do this by hand, so I suggest getting a ratchet. Cylinder 1 here. This is cylinder 2 is a little bit wet. The lens will focus here. This is usually due to, on a Miata, usually the valve cover gasket's leaking, and that's what I would put my money on here. Cylinder 3. This one looks pretty good. Go ahead and get the last spark plug out of cylinder 4, all the way in the back here. This one's a little bit wet as well. After removing all your spark plugs out of the engine, we're going to move over to the passenger side engine bay into this black box, which is your fuse box. We're going to go ahead and open it up. And what I like to do is I like to find the fuel pump relay, which on this specific Miata is going to be the second one on the left-hand side here. We're going to pull that, set it off the side. Usually, a lot of the times your cover will have a diagram right here, but this one's probably been faded out. I also like pulling the main relay. The reason we're pulling the fuel pump relay and the main relay is so we can avoid your injectors firing while we're doing a compression check. So with those two out, you can go ahead and close that. You're going to want to get your compression tester. This is the one that I use, the OTC 5606. It's what I've used for a long time. I use it every week. You're going to want to use the 14mm adapter hose, which is what every single Miata uses from 90 to 05. And then you're going to need to grab the actual gauge and these two just kind of connect together, just like that. And let's go off to the car. And with our compression tester, we're going to go ahead and start with cylinder 1. Thread that guy in. Thread it in pretty tight so you can't go anymore. And we're going to go ahead and clip on our other end of the compression tester, just like that. And then what I do with this guy, I kind of put it right over the windshield here. And then I'll go ahead and tuck the other end into underneath the windshield there, so I can go ahead and go inside the cab and see what the compression is. So next we're in the car, and if you're doing this by yourself, this is a good method to do. Just clip it on underneath the windshield wiper there, and you can see the gauge. What I normally do is I count to 10 seconds of cranking, or a lot of other people I've seen, they'll just keep cranking it till the gauge stops moving, which is roughly around 8 to 10 seconds. We're gonna go ahead and do cylinder 1 right now. About 10 seconds. And we're reading about 180 psi on cylinder 1. Just go ahead and grab it. Cylinder 1 is at exactly 180 psi. So let's go ahead and try cylinder 2. I already depressed the release valve right here, but that just releases all the air from the previous cylinder, which I'll show you on the cylinder 2. So let's go ahead and move it to the second cylinder. Here's cylinder 2. Let's go ahead and try it out. That one seems to be a little over 185, so let's go check it out. Cylinder 2 is just about 190. Right there, and the release valve right here. Just go ahead and click it. Set it back to 0. Let's go ahead and move to cylinder 3. Here's cylinder 3. I'm gonna go ahead and crank it. Looks like 190 again. Let's go ahead and take a look. This one is right around 185. Last cylinder will be cylinder 4. Let's go ahead and tighten this guy up. Here's the last cylinder, cylinder 4. Looks like that's about 190 again, or 185. Let's go take a look. Cylinder 4, just about 186, very close to 185, 186, close enough. I would consider this motor pretty healthy. Usually you would want no more than 10% variance between any of the cylinders. I would consider this one a healthy engine, minus the valve cover gasket leak, but internally it is sound. That is pretty much how you do a compression test on your Miata, and this applies to any other combustion engine that has spark plugs, which all of them do. And at this point, we can go ahead and put everything back together. I would recommend replacing your spark plugs if you're already removing them. In my case, I'm going to be selling this motor, so I'm going to go ahead and just put the old spark plugs back in. We're going to put all of these on hand tight for now, and then we'll go come back with a wrench. After you get them all hand tight in there, the torque spec for this specific Miata is going to be 11 to 17 foot-pounds. But I'm not going to be running this motor again. I'm going to be selling it, so I'm just going to go ahead and get them tight enough. Just like that, and we can go ahead and put the coils on. Make sure they're pushed and seated all the way in, and we can go ahead and get the 10mm bolts that hold it. And you're going to want to make sure you put main relay back in and your fuel pump relay. After you put your relays back on, you're pretty much ready to go. I'm not going to put the brace back in because I'm actually just going to pull this motor out. But this is how I do all my compression checks on all the Miata motors I get. I always do them cold to get the most accurate number. But if you've made it this far, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.